when bad things happen to me, I say God bless.
Yeah.
And when good things happen, I say the same thing.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Because it's just like,
that's going to be a clip right
like,
there.
Done.
Yeah.
Like, what else? We should just be grateful for what happens, good or bad.
100%,
Because there's a lesson in all of it.
Micky Khurshid is founder and CEO of DS Luxury, which provides exotic car rentals, luxury car memberships, private jets, yacht charters, and more. Hear how this entrepreneur started a global platform from scratch.
Welcome back to the How'd You Get Here podcast. Welcome, Micky Khurshid. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing well.
Thank you for being here, man. We like to start with how'd you get here? And, for people that don't know about DS Luxury, we like to bring it back. Your upbringing, where'd you grow up, and how'd you get into supercars?
Yeah, man. I mean, look, supercars, cars in general, it's just in you as a kid, You kind of just have that knack. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. You might too.
No, I'm a car girl.
I had
totally
Trans Ams.
do, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Because you're just born with that, I think, right? It could have been just, building a car dealership as a kid, like with my dad or something. It could be something from there. Or maybe it's just, it's what it makes you feel.
Where'd you grow up?
So I'm actually from Detroit, Michigan.
Okay.
That's where I was born.
I used to go to Movement every year.
Okay, cool. So straight, I'm from the D.
Nice.
But I am from Chicago because we moved here when I was maybe 11, 12.
Okay.
And we came out here and then, just rest kind of over here. And I've moved around a lot. I've been in California, I've been down south in Miami, but I love to say Chicago is home.
So I love living other places. I feel like if you haven't lived anywhere else in your life, you need to.
Yeah.
Because if you only know where you live right now, if it's been your only place that you live, you don't really know life. You need to be more
100%.
cultured and live in other places and see how different things are.
I absolutely agree. You have to broaden your view and your mind, and you only get that when you travel the world and when you get to see other cultures and be around other atmospheres and how you vibe in those places. That's why I think I live in south of France all year round.
No, that's amazing. So you mentioned building a car dealership with your dad. So is that like a family business?
No. So, my dad does have like car background, automotive background, motorcycle background, but no, nothing like that, So, I definitely did start this at scratch with zero,
Okay.
right? That's why, I often tell people like I made this appear out of nothing.
Yeah.
Right. And when you actually have done that, you actually have like a different level of understanding of problem solving, comprehension, and you are at a level where you could actually, teach people, I could teach you too how to make it out of nothing, But no, it didn't start with the dealership. I wish my dad had a dealership. I did have friends who had dads who had dealerships, but
let's get into DS Luxury. Can you explain it to people that don't know what it is? Because it's amazing.
Yeah. So DS Luxury is a global platform membership club. Okay, you have access to cars, you have access to jets, villas, yachts, and experiences. Okay, we curate vacations for you, getaways where we can set up the whole thing from when you leave this city, Chicago, to wherever you're trying to go and back, and full 5-star experiences or whatever kind of experiences you want, because it's all bespoke, right? Our clients, our friends, family, people call us for these services. They really rely on us and our expertise and our concierge level services, right? Because that's what they come to us for. They come to us and say, hey, I need a car. Or they come to us say, hey, I'm going to Florida, I need a place to stay and I need a car and and can you get me a jet, right? So they come to us for everything, which is great. And this did start as something completely different, DS Luxury.
Yeah, let's talk about that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I read that.
And it turned into something more, The whole history behind DS Luxury, and everyone's always like, what's the D and the S stand for? Well, the DS stands for Dream Squad. And Dream Squad takes it back to the very, very first days before anything ever existed. And it was just a vision that, hey, and this will go back to how do I get into cars? Well, cars for me is something that's inspiring.
Yeah.
Right? It's motivating when you see one. I mean, you could call it whatever you want. People will say this shit, but I was one of those kids who I would see a car do like a drift or like a tail, spin, and I'd be like, do it again, or
awesome.
some shit like that.
You found something that really excited you.
Yeah, excited me. So I was like, oh man, this is awesome. And what that made me feel you know, I'm an entrepreneur, so I've dabbled in many businesses. I invest often and all the time. You know, I have this background for business. I had gotten to a certain point and I wanted to do something that was helpful and something where I was seeing the world was going in such a transactional way back then at such a young age that I was like, man, like I want to do something for people where I can't get anything back.
And how old was this that you're talking about right now?
I mean, originally when Dream Squad was being thought about was in like, 2012.
And how old were you at that point?
You know, I mean, it was in college still.
See, that's awesome. To have that mindset at that age. You know, many people never have that mindset in their life. And you had that at that age, so that's amazing.
Entrepreneur. Got it in your blood.
It honestly was nuts. But like even back then, it was very what I made it, right? Which was, hey, these cars get dressed up as superheroes and they go visit kids who are terminally ill, sick, or deal with cancer. So like we've dealt with houses like Ronald McDonald House, Cal's Angels, like different organizations where people are actually like dealing with something. And like us, you know, we're grateful and we're blessed. We could get up today. We could come here, do what we're doing. But these other people, like they can't even get out of bed or they can't even afford to go from the house to the hospital. So they have to live right next to the hospital. So it's just crazy. So for them, you know, doing that, dressing up as a superhero, and our cars, like custom designed to the T when it came to the wrap on top. Yeah. So it wasn't like just, oh, here's a logo for a superhero. Like it was like really,
you had the real Batmobile?
Yeah, it was like done up. Like the little details, you know, like little bats flying around, like little stuff. And it made that experience. And we did that for a whole year, Dream Squad. And I brought in some of my other friends who like had similar cars. I was like, hey, you want to do this with me?
That's what I want to ask you first too. Did it just, this company, it just starts like you just buy a supercar and then you just start with one that you're renting out and then you build from there?
So in the beginning, it just started as like us just having our own cars and we did it with our own stuff.
With your own car.
There was no business behind it. We never charged for any of that stuff. And we would just do it. Yeah. After about a year, every single person was looking at me and was like, hey, Mickey, you know, like great idea, great plan. We love giving back, but like totally depreciated the car, so many miles. We never got any money for this.
You're like, fucking us up.
So everybody kind of just like went away, you know, like, well, and we're all great friends still, but they just kind of did their own thing. And I was like, no, I'm going to keep going with it a little bit, right? So I started trying to figure stuff out. And that's what actually kind of turned into the business, right? Is after that, when, you know, we kind of had slowed down on the more, which now that is our community outreach program for DS Luxury, which is the same thing we did back then, right? But now what happened back then is when everyone kind of split ways, I took my super depreciated supercar and traded it in for what I'm used to and what I like. And I went back to the S-Class, a Mercedes, right? Which
I had a CL55. It was my favorite thing in the world.
Amazing. Just comfortable. It's you could have people in it. It's great. It's good for business. Good to have meetings inside, you know. So I went back to the S-Class. And I had an S-Class many years previous to that, 7 Series. I always was into those big body sedans, right? So I got into an opportunity where a buddy of mine from Florida, from California, San Diego, his name's Hadi, great dude. And he's like, Mickey, I gave my G-Wagon to one of Future's guys out in Chicago. I don't trust anybody out there. You know, he still owes me some money. Can you either get me the money or can you get me my car back? And I'm like, I was
sounds like Grand Theft Auto. It sounds like a GTA.
I was like, all right. I was like, okay. So, you know, I came prepared. I had a flatbed ready to take the car. I had security right next to me.
Yeah, that's what
they're ready to just be like, you know, whatever he says, I guess. You know? And then I looked at the guy, and he looked like a nice guy, right? And I was like, I'm here for the car, or I'm here for the money. So, and he's just like, he looked at me and he started telling me all these problems with the car. And I'm like, no. I have nothing to do with the car. Yeah. I'm just here for the car or that. And he's just like, man, just take the car. So it was pretty simple, right? Yeah. And the car was kind of like, you know, getting on the flatbed, I'm looking at this guy. I don't know what was going through my head. And I was just like sitting there. And at that time, I kind of did dabble with Turo, right? Because Turo had just come out back then. And I don't know if you know what Turo is.
No, I've used Turo so many times.
I don't.
One of my
Tell me what
favorite
it is.
things.
What is it?
So it like kind of just came out back then. And it's a car sharing app. So you could go rent cars on Turo. Okay. And there's mostly like economical options on there. They have some nice stuff too, right? But it just depends on the market.
Sure.
But, you know, I don't use Turo because of the security measures and 10 other things that aren't good with it. But anyways, it's a good app.
I've had issues with Turo.
Yeah.
I was on a vacation and
We're talking shit about Turo. Sorry if you guys are affiliated.
I got a really nice convertible Mercedes. And so me and my friend are driving it around. All of a sudden the bumper just falls off, like the front of it. So I'm like, obviously someone's been doing this.
Now they're not going to sponsor us. What the fuck?
There's no quality control. It's okay. DS will.
There you go.
Well, yeah, exactly. And also I will say Turo like took care of it. It was the owner because it's individual people.
Exactly.
You know, it's not like
it's not Turo's fault.
It's not Turo.
It's the owner that owned that car.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
just had a couple
it.
things, and I've done it before another time too. And
What a
something
genius
weird happened.
idea, man.
But I always get really nice cars.
Yeah.
And then I think like if people are renting them out, they just don't keep them as nice. I don't know.
They don't upkeep them as much.
That's what it is.
Which is what differentiates Turo and DS Luxury, because like the quality control that we have is like on a different level.
I can already
Right?
tell.
Yeah. So this dude looked at me, and this is exactly how DS properly started, turned to DS Luxury, is he's looking at me, and I was like, okay. I was like, you want an S-Class? Like, I just popped the question. Like, you want that S-Class? And he looked at me, and he was like, man, like, yeah, how much? And I told him my price. And back then, what I was comfortable with was a short-term lease. So I told him the short-term lease rate. I was like, it's going to be 20 G's and $2,000 a month, 6 months. I don't know you. I don't trust you. And I'm like, I'll come on. And he said, yes. He was like, all right, cool. I'm done. I'm in for it.
Nice.
Cool. That same night, stayed up all night, put a contract together, customized it, did a bunch of stuff to make it look nice. And then the next day I show up with the car, with the contract. And then I'm like, all right, you got the money and you want to sign this? Give me your social, do everything. I took pictures of everything, his driver's license, insurance. He does everything. And I'm like, all right, cool. I'm like, can you just drive me like a mile? It was cold as shit. It's Chicago winter. And he was like, I was like, can you just drive me up the block? I had like started a business down the street for someone. So I was like, I'll just pull up over there. And this guy's like, nah. I was like, what? I was like, okay.
Wow.
I was like, all right, cool. In my Timbs back then.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I started making that 1 mile walk. I didn't care though, because I was happy. I just went from like doing all this for a year plus, no income, no nothing, just surviving off savings and just what I've built from a young age, and boom, like I just got that whole year and fucking
Your first big
awesome.
deal.
thing. Yeah. And that, it just kind of spiraled, believe it or not. It went from within 2 weeks, he brought me another client because he didn't like the S550 no more. He wanted the exact style that I expected, but an S63 AMG. So in 2 weeks, I'm like, but you signed the contract. And then he's like, oh, don't worry. I'm going to have one of my guys. He's going to start this one and you do this one. Done. Now I had two
Wow.
deals in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And by week 3 and 4, he was like, all right, cool. Brought me one more guy on a GLE 350. So the Benz dealer loved me. They're like, who the fuck are you?
That's all it takes.
It's all it takes.
Yeah.
And then by the 4th car, he's like, Future wants a Bentley truck to tour with. And I'm like, all right, let's go. And then I went from Mercedes, Bentley.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's how it kind of all spiraled.
Yeah.
And then from there, it was just like lawyers, doctors, CEOs of pharmaceutical companies.
So you said
like
Future, right?
diplomats. Yeah.
It just reminded me of Future when we had him at Prism one year. I forgot what I think it was for an after party for a festival, but his team wanted 75K and they wanted in cash in a duffel bag. And we gave them cash, 75K in cash in a duffel bag. I wanted to back it up because what you mentioned about, like you were speaking my language, like doing the shit for the kids.
Yeah.
Like I'm big on that type of shit. And just the fact that hearing your thought process about, like that we're blessed and these people don't even have, that just shows that you're an empath. A lot of people don't feel like that. And I feel like you have to feel for other people. It's not always about you. And the more that you do feel about other people and help other people, the more it helps you.
Yeah.
The better you feel, the better, it's just the better world it makes. I just wish everyone thought like that. So I commend you on that. That's awesome.
And I'll say something on that because it just comes to my head. It's like, so I believe in Islam, right? So I'm Muslim. And in our religion, it's like, there's this thing where they say, okay, if you want like a little cheat sheet in your prayers, right? Right. And obviously there's no real cheating in your prayers. But, but like, they say this. Like, but they're like, hey, if you want something for yourself, ask it for your brother.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Then it's like, okay, like, like I want everyone in this room to be blessed and have good health and be peaceful and make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in tune, the intention is real because I do want you guys to get on that.
Yeah.
And then if God feels that, okay, he's not just bluffing here, he wants them to get that.
Yeah, you're putting it out
then
there.
God's going to make it come right back.
You're putting
to
it
you as
out
well.
there, yeah.
Yeah.
But you have to be true to you have to have real conviction in wanting it for the other people around you. And not just, okay, I just want to be the guy at the top.
I think in even more simpler terms, honestly, like if you're thinking bad about people, let's say you don't want them to succeed.
Yeah.
If you're putting that out there and you're having those thoughts about another person, what headspace is that keeping you in? It's a low vibrational space.
Yeah.
It's not a productive, happy, energetic space. No. But if you're sitting there being like, I want you to fucking win. Let's all fucking win.
Yes.
Well, I think
You
have
just
a
feel
purpose,
better.
too. Like even with my business, my purpose at first was to like help women feel beautiful. It was never about like making money or becoming, a CEO of a big company. And I feel like seeing your journey, you really started wanting to help people. And then you just kind of progressed into something that was really financially, a big blessing to you. But it like, when you have the right mission from the get-go, that's what separates people. Because I think people who get into companies and they just want things for money, you get so far off a path that like your integrity's not there. People aren't buying it.
Correct.
You built it through like actual desire. So yeah, I'm a big fan. I think that's awesome.
I think that's dope that you said that too, because it does all start with your intention, right? And like your actions make gear whichever way they go, however it's planned to be in life.
Yeah.
But if your intention starts clean, then the path will be clean.
Yeah, for sure.
But if your intention starts with negativity or any sort of uncleanliness,
or me,
then it flows in the same way. And that's why when they say like what you put out there comes right back.
Yeah.
I mean, it's true.
It all comes back to what I say on every fucking podcast. It all comes down to the things you say to yourself and your perspective. Honestly, everything, no matter what happens in your life, no matter what your purpose is, no matter what anything, and to have that intention. I mean, that's the key word, intention. A lot of people don't even walk or live with intention. Then you're just fucking aimless. What are you doing?
Well, entrepreneurs need to hear that. I think that's a thing you need to hear, because you have two sitting on the couch. Both of us started with like wanting to help others. It was never, I want to help myself and be at the top of the game. It's just kind of like, you're going to do something and then.
You believe in yourself enough to know that you're just trying to put good out there.
Yeah.
And good will come to you naturally, because why would the one above want to harm someone who just wants good?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean obstacles don't come. And that's what I think people need to know. Is just because, and that's when people get negative, and I feel like they miss this, is just because you're putting good out there, and let's say you still do get hit with an obstacle or something that tests your faith, right? Those are the times where you have to hold it together even more.
And then you will grow from that.
And then you grow. And then the blessing hits. And then everything just falls into line.
And what really helps me, I heard this one time, and I always say it now, like when you're just about to hit something big, that's when it's the worst going to happen to you.
Yeah.
That's when the worst you'll feel.
I've been hearing that too.
So when you feel that bad, when you're really in a bad space, if you really just turn it around by what you say to yourself, what your perspective is, by like, hey, I'm this close to making it, because if you keep on saying that, you can say that for years, but it's better than not saying that. It's 100%. Better than having to be your demise. Just keep on saying that, and you will get there eventually, or you'll die trying. That's better than fucking,
I agree.
100%.
It's like when they tell like sick patients, and they're like, hey, like you're going to make it even if they know that they're not. But the fact that they said that triggers something in the patient's brain that they just try harder to make it.
And a lot of times that can be the differentiator that makes them make it.
I think it's about change too. Like when you said that, like you're like, when like your life feels crashing in, I usually feel like when we feel like things are crashing in, it's because it's completely changing. It's not the same road that we're used to, and change is uncomfortable.
Especially if you're an entrepreneur, because you like to have control.
Tell us about like some things you've ran into that. Has anything really shook you, or?
I always say this is like, if you're a true entrepreneur, you do get numb to a certain point to a lot of things. Doesn't make you an insensitive person. But which it's often taken as insensitive.
For sure.
But what it is in reality,
you've seen it so many times. You've been through it,
and you're the one always problem solving. So for you stop looking at them as negatives or, oh my God, this is super traumatizing. You just start looking at it as, okay, what's going to happen now to solve this problem? Right? Because they inevitably will always happen. Because we can't control everything.
Yep.
It's so true.
Bad times will never stop coming.
No.
The only thing you can control is how you deal with them.
Yes.
And become a master at dealing with them.
Yes.
And they're not even fucking problems at the end of the day.
They're just today's task.
Yeah.
The first one that hit you, at least for me in my business, the first one that hit me was like something got caught in customs and I had like 100 people waiting on orders. Oh my gosh, that felt like the biggest trap. Like I felt like my whole life was gonna be over. Like, you know, I couldn't sleep. Now if I ran into that, I'd have a way more calculated way, which I get what you're saying. Like you get more numb to it. Like, all right.
I wish I handled things calmly because I don't. I still get frantic and crazy, but I solve it. I make it happen. Like I don't talk struggles. I talk solutions.
Yeah.
You know, instead of complaining about what's going on, think about what you got to do to fix it.
Yeah.
You know,
I think like for me, the first time a car got stolen.
Oh, I was going to ask you what type of disaster happened.
For me, there's like two moments that were kind of like, right? One was the first time a car got stolen. Okay. And I was just like,
the first time, how many?
Yeah. I mean, it's so, now it doesn't happen as much because like we have such a solid system, but like it used to happen often, right? Like I would wait. I've only never gotten 2 back. The rest I've all gotten back. But like I've woken up to like, you know, cars in the middle of Tennessee. I'm like, oh, I know what's going on. I'm like getting on the phone with like sheriffs and shit, like, yo, get that car and stuff like that. But I think the biggest, I got so numb to that too, where I think people thought I was crazy because like they would want to do business with us. I'm like, you know, cars get stolen, wrecked, shootouts, this, and they're just like,
shootouts.
Like, so that's probably like the most crazy thing I had to deal with, right? Which was like I had a partner on a Rolls Royce. And, you know, the Wraiths just came out back then. And this was, this was a newer one with that body shape. The car was rented out by some people. An employee of mine rented it out, did all the verifications. They had great insurance. Everything was good. Like everything matched what we needed to give this car out, right? So he was qualified in our eyes. Right? in paper-wise.
I'd like to preface.
But he ended up taking the car, everything cool. The next morning, I get a call from my partner, okay? And this car was registered out of Michigan, okay? That's where my partner lived, right? He's a big doctor, right? And this was just on that car, right? So like he had nothing to do with anything else in the business. His only relationship with me was on this one specific car, right? The guy... I guess chief, so he calls me and I'm like just got out of a meeting and I was like, oh, I just got out of the conference room and I'm like, hey, you know, how are you? And he's like, Mickey man. And I'm like, oh, he's an older guy. So he kind of talks like that. And I'm like, what's going on? And he's like, you know, I have the chief of police of Livonia at my door. And I was like, what happened? You know? And he's like, well, where's the Rolls Royce? And I was like, it's with the client. I was like, I'm sure it'll be back soon. And he's like, well, I'm going to save you that headache. It was in a shootout last night with the police.
Wow.
And it's wrecked and it's at the police station in Pound.
Holy shit.
Wow.
And I obviously it was one of those like drop the phone mode. I was like, fuck. I was like, you know, but, and you know, I understand that these are possible risks of this business, but you know, we gave someone qualified, right? So we wouldn't know. So he's like, okay, well, look what's going on. Call me back and let me know. And I'm like, I was asked to speak to the chief of police. I was like, hey, listen, he's got nothing to do with it. You know, we have paperwork and all that good stuff. You know, just contact.
Oh yeah, because the police would think it's him, right?
Correct.
Yeah,
because it's registered in his name.
Wow.
So,
oh my god.
Yeah, and, you know, and he's a big time doctor. And
oh my god.
This is crazy.
He's got huge practice.
Yeah, that's
like,
crazy.
He owns a bunch
I would be
of
shitting
urgent
my
care
pants about him.
centers. Like he was like obviously he's also very well off, so he wasn't thinking of like shit because he knows things can be solved. But obviously, I'm thinking all that. Like, oh man, you know, I'm worried for him. So I talked to them like, okay, just talk to the police. We'll get in contact with Chicago police. I got in contact with them. Our lawyers got in contact, and obviously, like you know, they made a stupid decision. Whoever that renter was, and I got fucked in that situation.
Yeah, what happened to that
because they wouldn't even cover the car. Because they said it was in a commission of a crime.
Wow.
Because it happened in River North, outside of Cuvée. I don't know if you guys, it was in 2019.
Oh my God, I know exactly what you're talking about.
The white one.
Yes.
And there was a video on YouTube. The guy's like, it's the 4th of fucking July.
Yeah, I know the video very well.
It was the 4th of July.
Yeah.
It actually wasn't, but it sounded like it was.
Because
I know exactly what you're talking about.
It was like 40 gunshots.
And then they drove off and they on the
crashed
highway.
on the Ohio Feeder.
Yeah.
Yeah. insane. That was like one of those
I didn't know that was you.
moments.
That's crazy.
Sometimes you give someone a nice car and they just can't handle it.
They can't. That I'll tell you that though. That like mishap right there, because it costed us 250 G's.
Yeah.
Right. Because insurance wouldn't cover it.
Yeah.
Right. And then we had to go get it fixed. We had to do things out of pocket. But that right there really made us tighten everything up.
Yeah.
From A to Z with more like, like crazy.
Those bad things making you better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
dude.
and it does. And I can relate to that too, because I always look at things that way as well. Because if you sit and you just focus on the loss, you have to think like, thank goodness that we nailed it in now, because it could only be so much worse because you're growing.
Yeah.
You already got that
Growing
one.
pains.
It could, on a bigger, like a jet, it could be
Dude, you might go
worse.
really with this, because like now when bad things happen to me, even I know it's really hard in the moment. And for me, even there's still a little bit of time where I honestly look at things now like how bad it is. It's going to make me better. So just deal with it. It's going to be okay, but don't dwell on it. Don't stress over it. And it could be a lot worse.
And you nailed it with don't dwell on it, don't stress on it. Because those two things is what everybody does.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
there.
really easy.
They
It's
dwell
the easiest way
and
to
they
handle
stress.
it. Yeah.
Right. And I believe is if you got a problem, do something about it.
Yeah.
But if you don't know what to do about it, then do nothing about it.
Yeah.
But don't sit there and dwell and worry about it.
Yeah.
Because you're messing yourself up.
For sure.
Yeah.
You're putting yourself in a cycle mentally where you can never, it's like a loop. You just can't get out of this, like dwell, like stress. And there's no, and you can't even think of a solution because you're just stressed so much. You literally have to take your mind out of it and just be like, okay, it happened.
It's the past.
When bad things happen to me, I say, God bless.
Yeah.
And when good things happen, I say the same thing.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Because it's just like,
that's going to be a clip right
like,
there.
Done.
Yeah.
Like, what else? We should just be grateful for what happens, good or bad.
100%,
Because there's a
man.
lesson in all of it.
For sure. But you have to you have to look for the lesson.
You do have to look.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's why even, the book constantly says, where it's just like, I'll put the signs out there for those who can see them.
Yeah.
Not everybody can see them.
Yeah.
Right? They're not like, you have to train your mind, I feel like. To even be
1000%.
like this.
Dude, this guy's talking all my
Yeah.
language today, man.
Like,
No, for sure. I feel like a lot of times if something bad's going to happen to me, like there will be 5 or 6 signs, and it's if I want to listen to it or not.
yeah.
Because there might be a part of me that's like, I want to be blind and I want, you know what I mean? Like I
Yes.
still want to do this, even though I know it's bad. But when you can really tune into it and be like, all right, don't do it, then that's when you figure life out.
I just thought of, I don't mean this is going to be off subject, but remember when we talked about on our podcast about that girl that I used to be a server, now she's a therapist, and I don't talk to her? Her mom just started following and watching our podcast, and she loves it.
Hi.
But okay, let's talk about Vertiport, because thank you for taking care of us that night. The girl I love bombed. He hooked us up, took us backstage.
Oh,
Of course, man.
okay. So that was, you were the one behind, behind the flexing.
So now, does it house all your vehicles?
Yeah. So not
What else
all
you
of
got
them, but they house most of our Chicago vehicles.
And I don't know the dynamic there, because there's Vertiport, there's Help Fly Heli. Like, what is that space?
Vertiport is the establishment. They are the FBO.
Okay.
That's the private airport.
What's FBO stand for?
FBO is it's fuel for fueling.
Okay.
Right. So FBO right there, that's your O'Hare. That's your
Gotcha.
Midway. Okay. Fly Heli is your United or your Delta, whatever.
And
right?
they're just a helicopter tourism.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. When back in the day, there used to be multiple tenants like Fly Heli that offered similar services. So they were just like different airlines.
Okay, gotcha. Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
And then we're the transportation service there.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So, and we've been there for so long.
How
and
many
they're
years?
Great. I mean, I would say we're close to damn near getting on close to 10 soon.
Wow. And shout out Danny. What's Danny's role there?
Dude, Danny is
awesome.
the pretty much the operations guy there.
Yeah.
Like from head to toe, manages the full operation there. And he does a great job.
Hell yeah. Him, Rocky. I've known Rocky for years.
Yeah, Rocky's awesome too.
She's awesome.
She's killing it with Fly Heli.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
It's just there's a lot of great minds
For sure.
over there. And we've definitely been able to put that on because Vertiport started at a time where people were like, oh, this is too ahead of its market. Like, we're not New York. We don't use helicopters.
That's
like
one thing I was going to say too, because
Yeah.
like it's a full concierge. Like that makes sense in Vegas. It makes sense in Miami, New York.
Yeah.
Chicago, it's a little harder.
It's harder, but they're here.
Yeah, they're
and
here.
they use it.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, they're a little bit more low key here.
You got to find them. Yeah,
but it's the same guys here that are doing it in New York, in Florida, in LA.
Yeah.
It's the same guys.
Is it picking up in Chicago? Because I feel like on all accesses, Chicago is just picking up, like with everything,
Absolutely.
like with
I
like
agree.
influencers.
You got to have a
with
line into
businesses,
the. Sorry.
with parties, like the way I just feel like Chicago is becoming a bigger city.
It's
than
getting
it is.
put back on the map how it should.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know
And we
what?
need that.
We need it.
We need that.
But I don't want anyone bad infiltrating.
Yeah, I agree. And we want the right people.
Chicago.
I agree. But I am happy that it's starting to get back.
It is.
And I think a lot of it is because we're getting a little bit warmer longer. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like the weather's a little different.
Yeah.
Our winters haven't been as hard.
No, they haven't been.
People are
Right?
sick of LA. People are sick of those other cities, and a lot of chaos is going on over there. And I feel like if you ever see when people talk about Chicago, like we have some of the coolest people.
We do.
Like we're just G's.
We have hustlers.
We're hustlers.
We
We're
get shit done.
G's.
I'm telling you, the
Good
cold
people.
weather. The cold weather fucking toughens us.
Yeah. Yes,
We're
it
good
does.
people though, but like we're G's.
Yeah.
So it's like you don't get as much fakeness. You know, you get kind of just straight shooters.
That's what I like about Chicago and New York.
yeah.
Is they're very similar in that in the realm of like everybody here is ready to do business.
Yeah.
We're ready to get down straight to it. Like, and it doesn't mean you don't have to, filter through the fluff of things that you don't want, because that's everywhere in the world. But we have a lot of hardworking people, genuine,
For sure.
genuine to who they are
Yeah.
in Chicago. Right, it's very similar in New York. That's why when I used to mess with the entertainment industry and music, and it was always like a thing with engineers and the producers. It's like, okay, you go to New York when you want to get shit done. You go to California when you want to fucking chill.
Chill, yeah, totally chill, yeah.
And that's how it is.
Yeah.
Right. We in Midwest, it's a hustle culture.
sure.
We
for us,
grind for sure.
Right. We're tired of the winter. We want good stuff.
Dude, I want to hear about fucking UFC 319 because I'm fucking jealous
man.
as fuck.
Man,
is it 316 or 319?
319.
319.
Yeah. Dude, UFC 319 was super
How'd that happen?
dope. Jeremy was there too, ringside.
I don't want to hear that. I'm so pissed I didn't go. I almost dropped a couple G's on a ticket. I'm like, oh, don't do that, Eric.
I had a lot of clients in town for it. They flew in. And UFC is one of the most watched, and they have the largest audience. And honestly, like, I hope no one gets mad, but like, I didn't really even watch UFC.
Oh, I love it, man.
But I knew I
I watch it with my mom.
damn, that's sick.
Yeah,
But like
yeah.
that tells you, right? Like their audience, and I have a lot of clients that are into it and stuff, but like I got into it now because I originally got into it because one of the fighters, Bilal, when he
know
won the
Bilal, yeah.
champion, he won, like we were driving him around, we were
Awesome.
hooking up with him, doing some things. And that's when I kind of got a little bit more exposed. My family, my brother, they've been into it forever. And then this time I really got like the experience, like what UFC
That's
is.
so sick.
Like, and I was like, even when I was like sitting there and just thinking about it, I was like, man, yeah, Dana must have just like woke up one day after watching Fight Night. It was a Fight Club and was just like, yeah, I'm just doing it in real life.
Yeah.
And then it worked.
Yeah.
Like,
I love his story, and I love this hearing
Mm.
him talk too. And even Pro Gonzalez, she's a Chicago-based fighter. She talks about how this amazing person he is. And I just saw another podcast where he talks about how much he doesn't sleep, and that's me. He's like, I love my life. I hate sleep. I'm like, that's exactly how I am. I'm like 3-4 hours a night.
That's insane. I'm like, give me a full 8.
Yeah,
I am like that. But I also like realize like I move so fast that like I can be like that.
Yeah.
Because if I didn't move as quick as I do on things, like I probably would be 3, 4, 5 hours. Because like sometimes when I am like that, I wake up and I'm like, man, like, this day is, by the time I get to the office, it's like halfway through,
Yeah.
So you're only left with that. But then by the time the night's over, I'm like, okay, I finished everything, right?
So that came from Bilal then?
So no, it did not come from Bilal.
Yeah, how did it come?
Bilal is just originally how I got more introduced to UFC.
Yeah.
This was totally different. So obviously we have another location within Chicago. Vertiport is our main headquarters, right? Our other location is at Trump, Chicago Towers.
Okay, I didn't know that.
So we have
place for it.
Yeah, we have a great setup there all around the building for the residents, for the hotel guests, and the venues for weddings and galas that they do. So it's been great.
I'm gonna need a loan at some point. I'm just letting you know. I'm a good person to probably ask for a loan.
We are so specific with the service that we want to provide and we want our end user to feel, the Trump has really felt that. The Trump organization, and most people don't get approved in New York to even do what we're doing. We were told that there was multiple auto companies, car companies trying to get themselves established within the Trump.
I've actually been approached by a couple, actually, yeah.
And they were not approved by New York to open up. We did, and maybe that's for us being in business for 10 plus years, lasting the test of time, whatever that is. So we just want to keep striving to provide that so they see that. But through Trump, organization directly is where the Dana White connection.
Wow,
so,
that's awesome. Like I don't really get starstruck, but I think I would be. Yeah, with Dana White and fucking. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, that promo video was sick.
Yeah,
I was like, I can't wait for this interview. Like, this is just.
It was next level.
Amazing.
Because we come across these kinds of people often in our business, and when I get to spend more one-on-one time with them, like sitting in a car with them, talking, just bouncing ideas, just saying stuff. Like you get to really understand that, hey, this guy that just closed a $7.7 billion deal with Paramount. Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
This is how he thinks. And this is how he moves. And he's a very nice guy.
Yeah.
And he's very cool, And when you do talk to him, he's sincere.
It's so funny because like the fact that you have to say he's a good guy, because remember what we talked about?
Yeah.
Because we put these people on pedestals. They have a lot of money. They're successful. But at the end of the day, they're just like you and me.
They're just people. But I do want to ask you, you said that you get, so you're with a lot of high rollers a lot. Have you seen any similarities on how these people act, or is everyone just super individual?
There's subsets that you can categorize the people, fine. And I think the things that I've often said to my lady and on an off the record thing was hey, these guys never stop working.
That's what it is.
That's the most common thing
it is.
that I can say is about them. They don't stop working.
Yeah. And you hear a lot of girls on the contrary who are with guys like that. Because I have a lot of friends who will date guys who are, have a good job or anything. And I'm like, they work all the time and these girls feel super lonely because they'll be like, oh, he's always on his phone. He's never around. So I'm like, it's always it's a lifestyle. It's kind of a trade-off here and there.
And she's right. Cause that is tough, cause when you if you are going to those measures where you want to succeed, like Bezos or whatever Dana White's created or how many other successfuls out there, right? You have to be able to put in that time. So you have to have the right supportive people next to you, partners or whatever, that understand that because I have already made the sacrifice. I have already acknowledged that I will miss certain parties. I will miss certain outings with family. I will miss certain things because I'm busy on the job, wherever that is, whatever that is. And I've acknowledged that, but do the people around me really acknowledge that? Right? So it's really important that those expectations often are also you let people know.
You got to communicate.
You got to communicate because, what you said, right? It's easy for the other person to get lonely. Hell, it's easy for you to get lonely yourself too because you're just always working.
Yeah.
Right? So it's it's everybody who gets lonely.
Yeah.
But I know that I'm being lonely to get to this part where I am on the mega yacht with the family.
You're choosing that. Yeah, you're choosing that to get there. It's a sacrifice for sure. And then you do see that as your long-term goal. It's just going through it when you're in the grinding years.
The biggest thing is communication and still being involved in some way, shape, or form, right? Yeah. Because if you disappear,
that's not
now you become non-existent. And if you communicate, if you tell them, listen, I really want to be here.
Yeah.
But, what I mean? Because if you don't say that, now you're just an asshole.
Yeah.
So it's all about communication for sure.
There's a lot of room you're leaving a lot of room for interpretation and silence.
Yeah.
Which, sometimes I've seen that happen, in many different situations with other people in front of me or even myself. But it's, communication is key. You're right.
What is a supercar arbitrage?
So supercar arbitrage is the educational arm of DS Luxury. Okay. Obviously, we've been doing this for over a decade. So throughout this whole time, there's been so many people that reach out to us, that reach out to DS Luxury or myself, and they say, hey, how do I get involved? It's a sexy business.
Yeah.
People want to be involved, right? There's cars, jets, yachts, villas. They want to know how to be involved, right? And there's different ways for them to do so. So I was like, hey, I don't have time to talk to that many people in a day, right? And then Sharoz, who you know, right? Jeremy and the rest of the team.
Anthony?
Right? Anthony.
My son.
Yeah. You know, everybody was like kind of pushing me and motivating me to like, hey, like, you know, like this could be a solid move because you could streamline the process and really teach them how to create this, right? How to create a luxury asset business, which is what we do, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what kind of business it is. It's really about like getting your mindset right. And then if it is within the cars or the luxury assets, we can help you scale.
Because you could use that model for any industry.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's worked for us for so many years. Yeah. But there are things that people have to understand of what it's really going to take to get there. And like I work with the guys that, you know, are within supercar arbitrage. I work with guys who start with 0. I work with guys who have 10 cars already. Yeah. And everything in between and plus. So it's very interesting the kind of people I come across, because some of these guys are like young and they want to know how to get the sauce to do what you did. Yeah. And then there's older guys who are very successful who are contacting us and are like, hey, I'm so glad you put this out there.
Yeah, it's cool.
I wondered how that all got started. And, you know, they want to be involved, whether that's starting their own, whether that's, you know, being a part of what's already created with DS Luxury. And we have great revenue models, so they like it, right? That's what we're doing with supercar arbitrage, man. We're just trying to teach them like, hey, this is what it takes to do it. And if you want to stick with it and you're consistent with it, then you can do it too, you know? And I've had people like reach out to me and they're like, yo, like, you're just going to give all the sauce away? Like, and I'm just like, if that's really all it was, then,
exactly.
then why aren't you in a better place?
You're helping the next person in line. And I think that's a really good thing too, is I think that defines like a good person and a good entrepreneur is like, you're not scared about somebody coming and being your competition. You want to help the next, and there's enough room for that. And I think that that's like just a genuine person to be that way, is to not like you're giving it away because you want to help. Everyone. And look at you giving that back just is going to rise you up even more.
God bless. And I hope so. And you're right. Like since the beginning, it's funny because I've had people try to like infiltrate the business and like, try to learn everything and like find a way to have someone get a job and like just like do things. I've dealt with that since day one. Yeah. You know? And it's always been funny because I've always like read it early, but I never like treated them any different. I was just like, okay, cool. Like this is what I do here. You know, and then I've even had companies who have started who went and would get the same cars, the exact same cars, exact same color combos, take my website template, put it on their website, use the exact same color schemes, everything. And they still went out of business.
Well, they can't.
You know,
because they're
like,
not being them. They're trying to be you.
Yeah.
And that's why I try to tell everybody is like, I'm not in competition with you, so you don't need to be in a competition with me. Yeah. Right? You should be competing with yourself. Right? And like, I know, and that's what I've always told people is, you can try to do what I'm doing, but unless you have my vision and you're living in my shoes, you're not gonna be able to do it like me. Right? I can teach you that, and I can absolutely guide you. And if you listen to everything I say and put your ego to the side, you'll do what I'm doing. Yeah. But most people can't put their ego to the side. Yeah.
And get your own niche. You know, they got to find their own niche. What makes theirs different? Because I feel like in my business too, people will mimic my videos or they'll do this. Mine will hit more, or vice versa. If I look at someone's and I'm inspired, you know, mine's not going to take off unless, you know, people resonate with it. So I'm like, there's always enough room for everyone.
And people don't see the time and effort, the sacrifice. They don't see that. Like, we could talk about it, but you know, people only see like the wins, right? But they don't see all the hours that I've been sitting at home working, you know, when you guys are out at the club, you know what I mean? Yeah. So that's the funny thing about it. You could show people, but they still got to put in the time and work.
You have to put in the work. That's number one. You have to put in the work. I mean, even when it comes to like videos and stuff, like sometimes people will see your video, have no idea probably what it took to like make it look just like that, you know? And then they'll spend hours trying to copy you on it, but they won't spend hours just trying to make something unique to themselves.
Yeah.
I was just talking about your videos before you got here. Like, I love them. Remember I told you stop the swearing? Yeah. Because it's going to hurt. It's going to make it your shadow ban. But is
that real?
I've heard,
you know, I actually practice the act of stop to stop swearing all the time.
But it's great. It's
doesn't
raw, it's
work.
authentic. Yeah, no,
It's like a
trust me.
Midwest thing.
It's part of my
stepmom
vernacular
comes at
too.
me all the time, and she's like, "You're always like dropping swears," and I'm like, "I don't mean to, but I feel like it's like who we're around."
Yeah.
You know, I
Yeah.
try not to as well, but it's our generation too.
It just slips so easy sometimes, you know. But you know, I heard that they say if you swear a lot,
You're
you might be
intelligent?
smarter.
Yeah,
I'm like, I don't know, but it just naturally happens for me, and I'm like actively trying to stop. You know,
So
I want
what
my
else-
son one day. To
What
see
else you got
something.
going on then with is there any upcoming projects? Anything you want to shout out?
Man, we're
Plug?
doing, you know, like we're going through a real growth phase right now. We're trying to launch our first international location.
Nice.
So we've been heavy into works on that day in, day out.
You're not in Vegas, right?
No, we're not. We ship a lot of cars to Vegas
Okay.
all the time, but we don't have an actual location in Vegas.
Okay.
But we can definitely get you a car in all 50 states, no matter where you are. Just the time I look at that. But you know, we ship cars nationwide, and also we have cars internationally as well. But we want to build our first base. So Middle East, you know, Europe. That's where we're kind
Wow.
of focusing.
You might
on.
love bomb the girl in Vegas.
You can love bomb in all 50 states.
Yeah, let's go. Honestly, like that's the best part about what we do. You know,
Yeah.
DS Luxury and like even with Supercar Arbitrage is like we can get you taken care of no matter where you are.
Yeah.
We're your ultimate lifestyle concierge in your pocket. You just take your phone out, you contact your account manager, your lifestyle concierge, and boom, tell us your request.
Nice.
Whether it's a car, it's a jet, it's a vacation setup, whatever it is, you know, we can help. You know?
Think about if you have anything else you want to say to him, because I want to. Basically, what we do is we do a shout out.
Okay.
Anyone that you care about, love, appreciate, grateful for,
okay.
just to do some wholesome shit on here.
Okay, cool. I like that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like that.
No, I'm very impressed. I think your business is impressive. I love the way that you started it. And I think it's going to resonate with people to be able to hear how you started and that
Yeah.
you have a really good heart and a good
Oh,
person.
thank you. I
really like
appreciate that.
So, do you have someone in mind? Who's the first person that comes to your mind?
When I think of shout out,
Someone you want to, throw up to.
honestly, it's every single person that's ever supported me along the journey.
That's a great answer.
And
We
that's
haven't gotten
the
that
truth,
yet.
You know, because there's just been so many people, all different kinds of people, and you know, when they believe in your vision, they make a little special place in your heart. You know,
Yeah.
because they were riding with you. They knew that hey, sometimes you make 0 cents, but he must be going somewhere with us. Right? And that belief is so strong.
Yeah.
That alone sometimes keeps you going.
No, for sure.
You know,
100%.
even though you look good outside, everything's good, but no one really knows what your tasks are that day or the
Yep.
problems you're battling.
Yep.
And sometimes people believing in you makes you want to keep going. So if I had to shout anybody out, I would just say, honestly, anybody who's ever supported me on this journey, I appreciate you and I'm thankful for you and I'm grateful because without, you know, I call those like little prayers, you know, 'cause they want you to win too. Right. So for like you wanting me to win, we're all going to win.
That's awesome. If you had a mic, I'd be like, drop that shit. Drop that shit. So where could people find you? Follow you?
So people can follow us at ds.luxury or Supercar Arbitrage, as well as DS Members Collection on Instagram. If you want to visit our website, www.dsluxury.com, and you could always call us. And the best part about us is you can even show up if you want.
Awesome, man. Thank you very much. That was
man.
awesome.
Thank you.
We'll see you guys on the next How'd You Get Here podcast.